NSA leaks are 100% important. They've sparked an incredibly vital conversation about massive overreach in surveillance. And then, he went to China. He went to Hong Kong, which actually, it's funny, there's demonstrations in Hong Kong starting up because of the sort of repression that they're experiencing as they move back under the umbrella of China. And then he released other things like U.S. spies on China and Russia, which, shocking. I don't have a problem with that, and that's not a surprise. And then the hacking stuff, which again I think is different. And I think what happened was, frankly, is that he found himself in this unbelievably precarious and dangerous position, and he has to play somewhat to his host countries. And that's a perfectly understandable decision to make from the position he's in. And now I think, unfortunately, whoever advised him to go to Russia was giving him really bad advice. Because
he just applied for asylum in Russia.
Well, we'll see how that plays out. But there's no question that if you go from a PR and communications perspective, if he ends up in Russia, the Russian government obviously has no interest in using whatever information he has or might provide as a way to advance human rights in an open society. And that's going to be game over in most communication in the United States. Because you can't come to a place that's deeply flawed like America, leak this stuff, and then go to a place where, punk singers are thrown in prison and journalists are killed and gay people are arrested and beaten on the street. That's going to be very hard for him. Again, it's totally personally understandable, but I want to actually get to, this is a good transition.
You know what, though? I get it. I agree somewhat. But, where do people expect him to go?
That's a completely fair point.
There is no perfect country. There's the ones that are closest to being, the good on human rights. They're all they would extradite him in a second to the United States. He's got no real options.
But the reality is, the hard reality is that if you stay in Russia, your message of being a transparency human rights advocate is done from a communications point of view.
I still think
that's the reality.
I still think it's possible to get across. I understand the hurdle, but I think it's possible to get across as, you care about this stuff because it's your country doing it.
Yeah, that's not compelling. The thing to me is that now the other question for me the other thing is just, this is a game of survival for him, and part of the reason is because he's been charged with espionage, which proves his point almost as much as his leaks, if not more so. That charging him with that is ludicrous. And then when you look at the treatment Bradley Manning received, the obscene conditions he was held in, and the fact that this kid, essentially a young man, is like, I need to survive. And even if that includes being exploited by the Russian government and killing the PR message because he's in Russia, that in and of itself is a very compelling statement about how out of control this apparatus has become in the United States. So, and it's not a personal judgment on him.
No, I
understand the threat he's under. And
that's what I was talking from. Yes,
it's not a personal. It's not it. But again, it's just a cold analysis of how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
Because if some defecting to Russia is not, again, it can't bear that enough.